Well, it is time for another show, guys. Welcome, 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 Gen X News. This is our last show for this week until Sunday. From this point on, I'm going to be streaming on Sundays from 5 till about 7 p.m. We're going to have a longer show just weekly because I have some new projects going on. And if I do have a guest or something, I'll try to bring them on the Sunday or the Thursday. But be here Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern till 9 p.m. Eastern, roughly. We're going to run the show in future. But today, we're going a little bit esoteric, political. We're going to talk about Kanye and his song, Hell Hitler. I'm not hiling Hitler, by the way. YouTube, so chill. We're going to talk about that political stuff. Niish has got some things she wants to talk about with the some new virus stuff that's been being pushed out that they're going to be having out there. And before we get into those topics, I just want to remind you that the website is there, genxonx.com. You guys can go there for all the live streaming links, the podcast links. You can also donate to the show. All the PayPal, there's Venmo, there's Cash App. If you guys want to pop a one-time donation and help the show out, it is all right there on the website, genxonx.com. That's genxonx.com. There, I'm done. How are you guys, Jer and Nish? How's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm here. I showed up. That's what I can say. I didn't feel so great today, but I'm like, here I am.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I appreciate you guys showing up.
Well, I almost had to call in.
I heard.
So, but Jerry got me all straightened out. He's my techie. Although he's not going to take any credit for it. But I'm here. Thank you, everyone. Hello to the audience out there. It's nice to be back with you, Melissa. I always love coming on anything you do.
Yeah, and you guys are developing something new, right?
Yes. New
The
show.
show is.
It's exciting.
I keep pushing it out there.
We're,
So, Jerry, why don't you pitch it a little bit?
so it's a new show. It's going to be basically a current event show, but where it meets the esoteric, metaphysical stuff. We're going to get into some synchronistic stuff. It's going to be a generic show where just Nish and I talk. Maybe we'll have a guest. We're going to start out doing it once a month. It's going to be on Rumble, probably Rumble and X. I'm probably going to join Restream. I think our first show is going to be June 18th. Maybe,
what about June 19th? What about Juneteenth?
No, it'll be on June 25th, which is a new moon, which would be a perfect time to start.
Not June 19th. That's the newest holiday.
I get that day off too. That's awesome.
Ooh.
My company's so woke. I get Juneteenth off.
Oh my God. Yeah, we've just become the most crazy, absurd
caricature of ourselves.
Civilization. It's like now we have, I mean, I like holidays. Sure, I like days off, but some of them are getting really ridiculous.
But my company has unlimited PTO. I can take off as much time as I want.
Really?
Yeah.
Where do you get in on a job like that? That's amazing. Unlimited PTO.
Yeah.
You know, wow. This is not a lot of companies do that. Actually, a lot of them, they will sneak you around and not even give you your PTO, or you have to work and earn and bank your PTO.
I know. But the downside is if I leave any accrued PTO I had, I don't get. There is no accrual, so you don't get anything when you quit.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I got paid mine out.
Because you have unlimited, people are leery of taking it. So, like before we went to this policy, I had 4 weeks a year off. I had 4 weeks of PTO, and I usually made a point to use it all by the end of the year. So now that it's unlimited, people don't do that anymore. So people end up using less. People end up going on PTO less time than their originally allotted 4 weeks. It's a weird mental thing. It's a guilt thing.
It's psychology. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't, as Nish would say, I don't pull up to it. So
I would be like, hell, I'm going on vacation.
That's exactly what I do. I just go and I don't my job's not in jeopardy, so I don't really give a fuck.
Wow. So who's listened to the Yay video? Has everybody in the audience, have you heard the Kanye Hell Hitler new?
I have not. Is it possible we can listen to it here? No.
We're going to. We're going to play it.
Yay. Thank you, Melissa.
We're going to spread it. We're going to spread it.
I'm multicasting to our channel. Please don't get my channel canceled.
Oh, dang.
Well, look, Carlin played it on her channel and she didn't get canceled.
You got to play it and like stop it so we can discuss it, I think.
I will. I'll do that. So we'll start off with that. We'll play it and I'll stop it. We'll do it live on screen. Except for not like that. There we go. I don't like that on that side. I have to have us on this side. Otherwise it drives me nuts.
You must be right-handed.
I am right-handed. All right. So it's on. We'll go to Ye's
Twitter.
Okay. Wow.
So what is it, a white tiger?
I think these are going to be wolves because it's a Roman thing. Plus, Hitler was known as the Gray Wolf.
Okay.
So we're going to start the video, everybody. Watch it.
Don't get triggered.
So I kind of have to pause it here just so they don't glitch us, but you can see little formation here. Wolf head, looking good.
Man, these people took my kids from me, then they froze my bank account. I got so much anger in me, got no way to take it out. Think I'm stuck in the matrix when I fudge my nitrous. Yes, I am a cuck, I like when people fuck on my...
Okay, you just realized he said he likes being a cuck and people to F his B, bitch. That's what he just said. There's a whole bunch of really disturbing stuff he's actually said on his Twitter lately.
The shit that I'm posting on Twitter, they telling me, hey, don't say that. How niggas can't see me in public, I'm driving an all-chrome Maybach. With all of the money and fame, I still can't get my kids back. With all of the money and fame, I still don't get to see my children. Niggas see my Twitter, but they don't see how I be feeling. So I became a Nazi, yeah, bitch, I'm the villain.
So I'm going to pause it just before it gets the chorus. He's just basically talking about how they're manipulating him and abusing him, and so he might as well be the villain.
Nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. Nigga, how Hitler? They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. All my niggas Nazis, nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? All my niggas Nazis, nigga, how Hitler? She wanna fuck with Japan, I put the chrome on the bench. Nigga, how Hitler? She reaching down in my pants, she got the world in her hands. Nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? All my niggas Nazis, nigga, how Hitler?
Gonna pause it there just to do anyone want a commentary?
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to say this. I have always thought Ye was a masterful rapper, and he is a master of tune and melody. And just on that note, so I'm going in with the good stuff. Just on that, I really love this as a tune. And another thing I like about Ye's productions usually is, look at the timestamp. It's like 2 minutes and 35 seconds. There, he leaves you wanting more, and he plants those in neuroscience, those earworms with the hooks. So
yes,
really well done.
All right, here we go. That is it. Short, sweet, to the point.
So, what can we look at the lyrics? Can you pull those up, Melissa?
I don't have the actual. Let me see if I can find them. I know at the end, that end speech that was Hitler, that was a speech he did in 1935.
And so we should know which speech that is. So
I'll pull it up in a second. I know where it is.
Okay, so I'm gonna give my first. This is something like when I was doing that show with Amy D. We would cover this for sure. Prima donnas of the gutter would be all over this.
Okay, so
And
here's the speech right here. That's what he actually says.
how long? I'm sure it's long.
It's what he says is, whether you believe my work is right, whether you believe that I have been diligent, that I have worked, that I have stood up for you during these years, that I have used my time decently in the service of my people. Now cast your vote. If yes, then stand by me as I have stood by you. That's the speech.
Sounds like
Don't
something Trump
cry.
would say.
No, it reminds me of Evita. Don't cry for me, Argentina. I kept my promise.
Yeah.
I think, the way this whole system has been set up and weaponized is, to me, ridiculous. So, first of all, everything these days is Nazi. Everything's Hitler. It's ad nauseum. It has no meaning anymore. It's lost its meaning. And we should reiterate that the swastika is still widely used throughout India and other parts of the world. You can go and buy things with swastikas on them that have nothing to do with the Third Reich or Germany, that are ancient. You can get ancient textiles with the swastika on it and the wolf's hook rune and all that. And this is what consistently happens with the language out, the lexicon in which we are all functioning in. It's been weaponized. And this is a question I'm throwing out, do we actually know the true story of World War II? Because I think we all know what we were taught by certain
we know
groups
the
of
narrative.
people. We know the narrative, and we also were taught we cannot speak of the narrative. So you regurgitate what you've been told, you read the books you're told to read, and you play into the hand of those that wrote those books and told those narratives. There is a massive amount of information coming from actual people that stood up against the narrative that was being pushed. This is not suggesting that there weren't atrocities. This is not suggesting that it was anything less than ugly. All war is terrible, etc. But this is enough of something. There's enough questions that they should be able to be on the table without people going crazy. And to just call anyone out there right now that says anything you don't like, because this is how ridiculous the world is right now, you're racist, you're a Nazi. If you're white, you're just like automatically a Nazi. And this is where we have to understand that these are algorithmic pushes. This is a social engineering technique. It's OG. We can find the papers on it. And I'm not standing in line for anyone's narrative. I'm standing here saying we should question what we've been told, what we were told to memorize and regurgitate, and we should always 100% question what it is we're not allowed to talk about. This has been weaponized. One of the things I like about Yi is that he actually puts himself in this position a lot. And it's extra juicy from what I just saw, that of course it's all Black people. There's the white wolf in there. I didn't count the numbers. I've only seen this right now and here. I don't know what the lyrics are yet. I'm sure we're going to hear them here in a second. But on that, going into understanding the context of Yi, what has been pushed out in the world around him, and what we have seen every time they say he's off balance or crazy. What's actually
Well,
going on? Because
I wanted to get into that.
the network around Yi has been against him for a long time, and you better bet that the Kardashians are part of a large network cartel, and that stuff is starting to come to light with the Diddy stuff, and we
I'm
could go deep into all this.
So I'm gonna go into. I have a video here because Ye was Kanye was seriously like he was bringing up, telling people that he was abused, that there was all this handling, that there was psyops, and he would always question, "Are you an op?" He's like paranoid, and they're treating him like he's paranoid. Turns out there is this guy called Harley Pasternak that was his handler. He's like a gym teacher, and I'm gonna play a clip because Candace will probably explain it better. But they actually do abuse these people, and then when they step out and try to get away from the abuse, because it's all run like a mafia, they start, they go to the whole media stuff and say, "Oh, they're crazy, they're nuts, they're Hitler, they're this." And to me, this video is like, okay, you're calling me a Hitler and misinterpreting my tweets because I'm an artist. Well, okay, here I am. I'm Hitler. Here you go. Here you. That's what you want. And I always considered that the system really creates this stuff. They actually create real terrorists, real villains, and then they're like, "Oh no," like it's crazy stuff. But I have, yeah. Let's take a look at what Candace says. It's quite long, but it gives you an idea of some of the abuse I think that this Harley Pasternak guy has been doing to Hollywood people or musical people.
That Harley Pasternak is not just a gym trainer. And no one knows any gym trainer that texts you and threatens to institutionalize you and take you away from your kids that formerly worked for the military. Speaking of his celeb clients, just showing you some on his website here. That's a lot of people to be training at the gym. Everyone from Gwyneth Paltrow to Kim Kardashian, Katy Perry. Man, what's this guy's gym routine for someone with military training? I mean, literally, we could scroll forever and you could just see how many A-listers he manages at the gym. Some who I can't imagine have that great of a workout routine. And it really does make you wonder why we are always getting the same things said out of Hollywood. But there are some clients that have always struck me as odd. Harley Pasternak has also had a lot of clients who have died, in strange circumstances. Brittany Murphy, do you remember her? She died back in 2009, collapsed in the bathroom of her home, and she was found unconscious. She was then transported to the hospital. She was extremely young when she died. The autopsy results say that she died of pneumonia and iron deficiency. Okay. Pasternak claimed that Brittany's husband, who then died shortly thereafter as well, had hired him to work with Brittany Murphy. So that's interesting. Then Mac Miller, I don't know if you remember, the 26-year-old rapper who died also of an accidental drug overdose. Pasternak had told Page Six that he was just about to see Miller. Miller was just about to walk into his studio on the day that he died. He said, quote, "I was mid-session with someone expecting him to show up about 45 minutes later. One of the ladies who works with me walked in with a kind of blank look on her face and held up her phone, and there was the news release about Miller's death." And then there's Aaron Carter, to connect the dots with you, because this one has always bothered me the most. On the very day that Kanye West tweeted out Harley Pasternak's tweets, Aaron Carter responded to Kanye West. You can see that date on November 3rd, responded to that text message that Kanye shared, and he said, "Yo, Kanye, let's talk man to man." They never had the opportunity to talk because less than 48 hours later, Aaron Carter was found dead. He died at his home in Lancaster, California, at the age of 34, and his body was found in a bathtub by his housekeeper. And the LA County Medical Examiner's coroner, and you guys know if you're reading Chaos, that what they rule these deaths means absolutely nothing compared to what the facts are, that it was just accidental. He drowned after he wanted to speak to Kanye West about the Harvey Pasternak text messages. Harley Pasternak, pardon me. Jolly West, quite literally, as a part of a CIA program, said that they had successfully found a cocktail of drugs which could give people mental illnesses. If they needed them to forget something, they needed them to stop doing something, they could just give them a cocktail of drugs and that would be over. And now I would like to draw your attention to Harley Pasternik's 2019 interview that he gave to Escape Fitness discussing his military training and the impact of drugs for the military. Take a listen.
And the area that I was interested in was how drugs and food affect muscular performance. And
when you say drugs, was that like performance-enhancing drugs, or are they
all kinds of drugs?
Right, okay.
So working for the military, I wasn't governed by the same laws that the typical person was, so I could look at the impact of certain drugs that are not everyday things. So we looked at a drug called modafinil, which was for narcoleptics. So if you give a soldier this
my mom's on that drug.
How long could they stay awake for without having any health detriment?
Is that used now as one of these brain drugs? I've heard the name before somewhere.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. Modafinil, it will keep you awake, but it's not a stimulant.
Really?
So if a special forces person has to stay awake for 3 nights waiting for the right opportunity to do whatever they have to do,
Hitler giving all soldiers meth.
Keep them alert.
So if you want to know who I believe is a monster, Harley Pasternik would be that individual. And as I said, I think that Ye barely escaped with his life. And I will always view him and deem him to be a survivor. And Kanye.
Yeah, so like that guy was threatening if Ye didn't get in line, basically he was going to go to, get his kids taken away, be on psych meds, put in an institution, like they're just destroy their life. And he's a handler of many of them, as basically a fitness instructor.
So, and I remember didn't he there was some kind of brush up between him and his handler at a fitness place. And then he, escaped, left, whatever. And then he got picked up and put into a hospital or something for a while. Remember that?
That's probably it. That's probably what happened.
So if he's a handler, who does he work for?
Well, I know that he was in with the Canadian government and MK Ultra and all sorts of weird military stuff. So who knows? I don't know who hires him. But there's a lot of crazy stuff. Even with Michael Jackson, all these celebrities, they're probably murdered, allegedly. Because they don't get in line. They don't do what they want. The system, and I won't say who runs it, because we're not allowed to say that. If you don't get with their little mafia stuff, they take you out. And they're greedy, and they just want money. And it's always been that way since Hollywood and the music industry has started. It's always been mafia. Now there's just a mafia that does it a little bit different. That's rappers and whatever.
Yeah. So don't play the music on this. You could just skip forward.
Yeah.
If you want to read.
Oh, what do you
press the
I'll just mute
speaker
it.
button. Yeah.
Okay. So here's some of we'll just let it play.
No, it's like 40 seconds. You could just use your right arrow key to skip ahead. There you go. That's the first chunk.
So it says, "Man, these people took my kids from me. Then they post my bank account. I got so much anger in me. I think they froze his bank account is what they said. I got so much anger in me, got no way to take it out. I think I'm stuck in the matrix. Where the fuck's my nitrous? Yes, I'm a cuck. I like it when people F on my bitch." Then he's like Antifa. Yeah, on my. So let's go to and then it says, "The shit that I'm posting on Twitter, they telling me, hey, don't say that, how N-word can't get me, can't see me in public. I'm driving an off-road Maybach. With all the money and fame, I still can't get my kids back. With all the money and fame, I still don't get to see my children." And then he says that N-word see my Twitter, but they don't see how I be feeling, so I became a Nazi. Yeah, bitch, I'm the villain. And then it goes into the chorus, and they said they don't understand the things I say on Twitter. N-word, hell, Hitler. They don't, and they says it again, repeat. All my N-words, Nazis, N-words, hell, Hitler. And then that again. And then he says, she wanna F in Japan. I put the chrome on the Benz. And he was just recently in Japan with his wife. And then he says, she reaching down in my pants. She got the world in her hands. And then it goes on to that. And then it just goes into the chorus over and over again with the N-word Heil Hitler till it's over.
So on one level, he's saying that he's been put into this persona by whatever, the world, right? Because whatever he posts on Twitter, they think he's the villain now. So he's going to just, okay, so I'm Hitler now. That's kind of what I'm getting from this vibe.
That's definitely what I get. It's the network that we all know about.
Yeah.
It's like what Ira Levine talks about in Rosemary's Baby when he says all them witches. It's the control network that is running things secretly. And he's been trying to expose that for a long time. And if you read any of Ira Levine's work, you will see what I'm talking about and not just watch his movies. Most famously Stepford Wives and Rosemary's Baby, but he's got a whole host of amazing
Sliver
stuff. Right. So
I love Ira Levin. He's Boys from Brazil. One of my favorite books.
I mean,
amazing.
it's crazy because like in Rosemary's Baby, they're all trying to make her think she's crazy, but they're up to the worst of the worst. Hello?
Well, so I think that for me, the very first thing to look at when looking at a Yee piece of art is what are the layers here? So he's always going to push the boundary. He's always going to go hot ticket. He loves hot ticket. And I think that he presents this very well in all the work he's done. And it shows also how absolutely it presents to the world who is looking deeper and who is not. And Yee is definitely about subtext between the lines, artistically trying to present things in a way that touches something almost, I don't know, subliminal. He gets the earworms in your head, and everyone's talking. Isn't everyone talking about this? Everyone's talking about this.
And most people say they can't get the little anthem, the chorus out of their mind. They keep singing it in their head and they don't want, they're saying, well, I'm making sure I don't sing it out loud in the grocery store because they don't want people to go, what did you just say?
One thing that's interesting is the amount of backlash that this has gotten just in 4 days. Compare that to the lead up to the election. How many times did you hear Trump compared to Hitler? It was zero backlash.
Yeah. Well, and look at the rap songs that are acceptable.
I know.
Look what they say, and everyone's fine with the depravity.
It's the hypocrisy that bothers me. If a group of people are going to be upset that somebody brings up a certain subject from one person, but not another group, the mainstream media calling Trump Hitler for how long was that? 3 months? Rachel Maddow was showing pictures of Hitler and talking about Trump. I mean, it was blatant comparisons.
For 3 months, for years.
More like almost 10 years.
Yeah, I mean,
but I mean, it didn't
consistent.
They weren't specifically calling him Hitler until the end of the near the election day. And I didn't hear the ADL coming out and calling these people anti-Semitic who were saying this, I didn't hear any, what I'm trying to say here. I didn't hear any complaints about that use of it, but when Kanye does it, it's, oh my God.
Well, because they're saying he is Hitler. They're not heiling Hitler. And then he's literally used three words we're not supposed to use. He's using the N-word, he's using Hitler, and then he's howling Hitler. He's going right for the money, and that's literally like places where white people aren't allowed to go.
So the way I hear that song, the chorus specifically, right before the chorus starts, he says, I'm Hitler. I'm the villain bitch or whatever. However that line says. And the chorus is directed at him.
Right. They're like chanting him.
To him. For
To him.
him. Not
Yeah.
to Hitler or for Hitler specifically, but to him, Kanye.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the way I took it.
But it's when the media is calling Trump Hitler, they're not doing it in a worshiping way.
No, not at all. It's prerogative or whatever word that is that I can't think of.
Yeah, it's a slur. They're trying to smear him.
But and still, nonetheless, it's lost all its meaning. I don't
pejorative.
care what
Sorry.
anyone says. They've wrung this out.
Yeah,
it's the same as fascist, same as racist, same as Nazi.
The Overton window is going to shift because of this a little bit on what's acceptable and what's not. Probably a little more radical.
Oh, right? Everything's acceptable. Look at how the increasing use of profanity by elected officials lately in public.
Oh yeah, their Twitter feeds are really interesting.
Yeah.
They're aggressive. I'm like, wow, and you wonder why everybody else is going psycho.
All decorum has been lost. They're doing it in an accurate way. I don't think so.
Who's doing it in an accurate way?
Someone in chat.
The Democrats?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. They're doing it in an accurate way.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but I disagree with a lot of people that just stand really heavily on one side or the other. So, and this whole idea of taking sides in such a way that it ruins all your relationships, that I don't know. I feel like this is such an old subject, but it's just what's going on in this realm, and this polarization is so crazy and so completely manipulated. It's got algorithmic backing. There are videos on all sides that are AI, that people don't know what's real and what's not. And
it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, the technology is all there now for anyone to use, and that's just what's on the surface. And so we're not talking about the stuff that is in the deeper layers of being used against us. Our biorhythms are being used against us. Everyone's lining up and doing all this stuff. Nobody wants to go read core text. Nobody wants to go see where signatures are signed. Nobody wants to learn legal language, which is
to leave their
not that
couch.
hard to learn. And it just goes on ad nauseum. It's so out of control. But then again, we're graduating children that can't read and write because their phones are doing. We're literally doing that in some.
They're like copying and paste. All they're doing is copying and pasting. I watched my son do that, and they couldn't figure out why he couldn't do a sentence or a paragraph properly. And I went into that English teacher, and I was like, "You're an idiot. You're letting them copy and paste everything. That's why they can't write properly." I'm like, "You make him write that sentence, that paragraph properly." It was crazy. I had to deal with it in the school. It was insane.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But if you just stand back and watch, it's so. It just looks so ridiculous, and people that are taking like these hard lines with everything, knowing how this thing goes back and forth in anti-odromy. It just swings back and forth, and that's the nature of it anyway. But where did we cross this line where all the vitriol is? What gauntlet did we walk across? How is it people can hate so heavily these days that if your wife, your brother, your cousin says something you don't like, then that's it? That's absolutely
it's done.
But this has been escalating for 20 years at least.
But this is very specific to the last 9 years easily.
Yeah.
And then way worse when we started introducing all the COVID bullshit.
Oh yeah.
In where
I think people have like some kind of weird PTSD, and it's coming out how brainwashed and controlled the media can do. And the media has been doing this all along. It's just really subtle, and then they've ramped it up. So people actually didn't realize all along how slowly they're being manipulated and controlled, and how they believe everything the media says. They didn't see it. They just can't see it. And so at any time, the media can trigger like hysteria at any time, because we've been slowly manipulated over decades.
Right.
And
What I was going to say is that the specifically to politics, it's been getting nastier and nastier and nastier every election. There's never been an election cycle where the rhetoric stepped back from the last election. It always escalates. So now, after this election, I can't imagine the shit slinging that's going to happen in 2028 from both sides, because it's going to be an escalation of 2024.
Right.
It always gets worse.
Niish, how do you feel about, like, I also know that when someone's writing a song, and sorry, Christians out there, I'm not promoting witchcraft, but whenever you write any kind of verse, you're writing a spell. You're putting it down in words. So this is like conjuring something. I felt like there was a very spiritual spell making, and the repetition of the sound and the anthem. I was like, wow, it's kind of hypnotic.
Well, these are all techniques, and they're not just, they're available to anyone. These are all tools, and anyone can use the tools.
It's more like NLP.
NLP is a tool. There are other tools, and so it's just a matter of what's your intent, and what are you aiming at. There's a whole bunch of different types of magic, just like there are a whole bunch of different types of Christianity and other religions. And so I think what I see so often is this blanketing effect. And that's exactly what's happened with like the word Nazi, with all these words, with white and racist. But where it becomes relevant is, at what point do people realize that they're being used by the system, that they're actually being guided into the system? And this is not woo. This is all technology that's out there, that has been out there, that is being used on the public, at least in the Western world, and has been for a very long time. As technology has progressed, it is becoming easier to do this. You don't have to take kids out of class anymore. You don't have to just use a specific group of people to give them a shot, to say, this is going to save you from this, and then throw them out into the field and see how that works out. They're just doing it everywhere now. Everything's poisoned. What can we trust? Who can we trust? And why do we trust those that lie to us consistently? These are all the things that I wonder. Have we lost our ability to be feral, free thinkers? Because what it looks like to me is we have, and everyone is so easily manipulated these days. And that is what I'm saying with this Trump hate, this whatever the syndrome is, and this crazed far left side that is unbelievable. Like, I can't even believe the stuff I see and hear. And I'm watching in the round. I listen to this side, I listen to that side, I'm over here, I'm over there. And I have my preferences as to what I think is just and fair, but you can't even get in a rational argument these days, because everyone's coming from such a hardcore weaponized angle of what they think is going on, without doing their own due diligence to go and actually read the documents. I realize some of this stuff is like 1,500 pages. They make it terrible. One of the things I'm enjoying about the current administration is they're cutting down on all that crap. One of the things I'm enjoying is that they appear to be America first. I don't care who you are, if you're Trump or not, I don't care. I think we should value that, have that as a value system. for God's sake, other countries do, and let's start with
Mhm.
Israel. And so, like the stuff that went on today, how can, and I saw so much hate with this. So, how can people hate Trump for what he just did today? It really was RFK, and they hate RFK was great when he's over there, but now he's terrible. He's over here. He's a Nazi too,
Yeah.
and
No, they
Well,
never
they
they never called
have
him a
to.
Nazi. They never called him a
They
Nazi.
they have to
they
hate it. They get paid by Big Pharma to hate it.
there is all kinds of Nazi stuff going on with RFK and traitor and all this, but what I saw, what I looked at, was an equalizing in the field. There is no reason why American people should pay so much for their medical care when the same, especially pharmaceuticals, when the same stuff, same makers, is so
Mhm.
much cheaper in other places. So when you're fighting for your life, and then after the point when you are healed or whatever, then you have to bankrupt yourself and your family and the future to pay for all this stuff. It makes no sense. So to equalize the playing ground, which was put out very clearly, and there were, to me, looking at all of it, it seemed very well written. It didn't seem questionable. It's not too verbose, etc. What is there to argue about? And
Mhm.
some of the arguments was hearing was socialism. Well, again, Bernie Sanders was pushing all this, and now, of course, now that Trump got it done, it's like the hate,
So
like
what
the hate.
is Trump a commie or a Nazi? Which one is he?
He's
Oh
everything. He's
God.
always everything at all times that's bad. Orange man bad. And listen,
Mhm.
I'm not a Trump fan. I will say this though. I'm not a fan of any of these people, but Trump is at least entertaining. He gives you entertainment, because what is this? This is all a big shit sham show. I don't care at this point. Every one of the agencies has lied to us. You can't trust any of them. One lie, two lies, three lies, terrible lies. Why do we go back? Why do we think they're going to change? This
Yeah.
behavior in the soul of America and in the soul of the Western world is so sad. We've all been domesticated to this point that we will just walk to our graves. And um, I did bring you a couple clips, Melissa, since we're on this, that,
Mhm.
perhaps we should look at.
Yeah. Do you mind if I play this Kanye clip before we get into that of Candace Owen?
Oh, yeah,
Before?
yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go
Was
for it.
this?
I will
We'll do
admit,
this.
as a friend of Ye, that I thought he was completely paranoid and crazy when he kept telling me that everyone around him was an op. He used to say, this person's an op, this person's an op, this person's an op, like, like as if he was accusing them all of being feds. He even at one point questioned me when I was asking him questions and everything was coming down. He's like, are you an op? I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know anybody in Hollywood. Obviously, I'm not an op. And I thought these were just, again, paranoid delusions. But now I have a very different perspective on this. I have an understanding of what Kanye went through to get out, right? To basically sell everything, give his designs, end his marriage. Because when you leave a cult, of course, it's not easy. They try to destroy you. They try to Sigmund Freud you. They try to gaslight you. They try to call you crazy, express concern, fake friends. They even put pressure on your family. Oh man, you just need some rest. You're just going crazy. Hey, you know what? I'm your friend. I've always been your friend. We don't want this to happen to you. And then when you say, no, I'm done with this, then come all the headlines. Then come the headlines about Hailey Bieber spending all of Justin's money. Why did he sell his catalog? Is he going to go broke? Friends are concerned. They're concerned because he's unfollowing people. Oh my God, he must be having a mental breakdown. Look, guys, it is clear that Justin Bieber wants out.
They're having a mental breakout. They're breaking out of the cult. I just wanted to reiterate that concept of it's all a cult and a control and a mafia, and he, like Kanye's telling her, psyops. Like he's paranoid because he knows how dangerous these people are. So we'll get into that. Which was the video that you wanted to look at, Niish? If you're there. I'm not sure which one she want. Did she want to look at the fungal meningitis video?
I have no idea.
We'll see. But yeah, anyways, this whole concept of like they have evil, villainous people in Hollywood, and that this music video. I mean, I could keep going on about this music video, and I might do a follow-up show talking about it with Kanye. Is that he's really expressing this, and I tell you all, I say this all the time. This system creates the Hitlers, and then it's like, oh look, we have a villain. It's like they have to create a villain to justify their existence. It's really bizarre. It's a
To
bizarre
me, this
thing,
is
and it's
all
creepy.
tied into the bigger network. I'm sorry, my wolves are going crazy right now. There's someone outside. This is all tied into the bigger network that involves some music and anything with a corporate anything.
Yeah.
Is part of it, and in HR, then we're dealing with a very specific set of rules and entities involved, and it's very specific, but I call it the network. And like I mentioned with all them witches, it's a network. It's not a club anymore. It's a network. It's like a worldwide web that everyone's caught in. And so we're not just talking about entertainers. We're not just talking about politicians. We're talking about the psychology that is in the world unleashed at us right now. The same psychology that will say, they're weaponizing words right now to get you to get the system on you. Words like
Woke
concerned.
right.
I'm concerned for this person's health. That has an algorithmic push behind it. And that will get eyes on a situation that can have very bad consequences for you. And this is part of how psychology comes into play with these other systems in the network, which involve the pharmaceuticals, which all ties into these bigger umbrella situations that we could just call an umbrella that is tied into the WHO, WEF, the FDA, all these organizations that would seek to control us, all these organizations that have lied to us, that are trying to get us in line, to stay in line, all these organizations that are trying to domesticate us further. And the Western soul, in particular, the American soul, it has been in the past very troublesome in this department. And to me, though, looking at how easily people are manipulated and fall in line, I don't know, from where I'm standing, they're winning. The network's winning because so few people stand up to anything, because everyone is, I'm going to use the overused word, triggered because of algorithmic attachments to their Internet of Everything, their bio field. It is completely a digital situation we're dealing with. And we need to look at, I think it would behoove us to look at the real monsters here instead of just the characters playing on the main stage.
Well, it's true because they weaponize psychology, and Freud totally was a fraud, using psychology to cover up for men, molesting and essaying their daughters and all this stuff.
He was
And
part
right
of the
now,
network.
yeah, and I just covered Jordan Peterson's part of it. I just covered Jordan Peterson and did a huge research and read this book on Jordan Peterson. A lot of people don't realize he's coming out weaponizing psychology and calling people like us woke right and anti-Semitic and
I can't
crazy
bear
and
Jordan
mentally ill.
Peterson. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't know
Psychology,
about him.
psychology and
I'm not
psychiatry.
done yet.
Sorry.
2012, guys. Sorry, I just want to finish this and then you can go ahead. 2012, Jordan Peterson served the UN to help write Agenda 2021. Most people don't know that. He literally helped them write the narrative to manipulate people into agreeing with Agenda 21. He'll make up some excuses, but the same stuff he did for that, he's doing it now to try to create people against conservatives who are calling out war in Israel, people who are calling out stuff that they don't like. He's trying to call them woke right, the dark triad, psychopaths, lunatics. He's a fraud. He's a total fraud. And this is the whole thing we're dealing with. Who's behind this? I don't know. But Jordan Peterson has always been one of their weapons, and they fooled us.
With Jordan Peterson, when I first encountered who he was in the world, I was impressed. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is a man that seems to understand the mystic that we know as Jung, and then I realized swiftly that he didn't seem to understand Jung as a person, but Jungians. He's a Jungian, and as far as I'm concerned, that's all part of the network. That was what happened. Jung himself warned everyone about that whole dynamic, and then it became very clear that something, and I don't know what it was, something changed in him. Now, I could go into the deep woo with that, but I will spare everyone. But something changed in him. Just like when I see good people try to get into the realm of politics, I have seen good people enter it and something changes. And it's not money. Money is a ridiculous thing for they created the wheel for everyone to run on. This is above money. This is above the monopoly board. And the network has no care for that at all. And they don't use it in the way that we have to use it or we have to engage with it. And when you are around very, very, very wealthy people, you will understand that very, very wealthy people have secret clubs of information. You get to a certain tax bracket, all of a sudden you are getting magazines that you didn't get before. You're getting invited to things that you didn't know exist before. This is all real. And you start to get filtered into this reality. Not everyone falls into it. There's a lot. I'm not trying to make blanket statements here, but there is a big divide, and I'm talking about the actual 1%. At some point, I mean, you have to. Everyone thinks these extremely rich people are philanthropic and all this good-hearted stuff. You've got to give away so much money. It's a tax thing. And it looks like you're being generous, but it's just part of the tax game. And you give away so much money to stay.
Right.
It's this whole thing, and I think a lot of people misunderstand it, especially the people caught in the lower end of it, where they're just chasing their tail to keep the rent paid
Yeah.
or the mortgage paid and the lights on the table where they want you. And so
Yes.
I'm digressing here, but I know a lot about this, and it is a whole different world. And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about millionaires here. That is not very wealthy, especially in
No.
this world.
We're
We're
like
talking about
multi-billionaires and trillionaires.
we're talking about Elon Musk level people, and there are people up in that level that nobody knows who they are unless you know who they are. We could pull out some names for sure. There's lots of names to pull out. There are lots of families to pull out, and there certainly are lots of genetic lines we could look to, and lots of people pull this information in. But I digress. So one of the things that they do is they're creating these scare things that are going on. So anyone who's done any real searching into the medical field understands that there's a lot of malarkey going on, and that things are being pushed. Again, we're talking about the network. We're talking about pharmaceuticals. We're talking about biohacking. We're talking about all this stuff these people are doing. And if you could think of it as like a game of cards, or Zeus and the gods playing games with the mere mortals, that's a better way, because Zeus and the gods don't need money, but they might enjoy playing a card game and betting this and that
For
on
your
this and
soul.
that. So throw COVID in and throw all this other stuff in, especially as very intelligent people have come forward and talked about. And I've done chats talking about the grip that doctors are under, and they have a special, there's a whole thing. I mean, just go listen to this stuff I've done with a couple people that is just incredibly eye-opening. And so Sticks over here that we're going to listen to in 2019 when COVID came online. I don't listen to Sticks very often. I do enjoy him, and I think he's looking better than he ever did. But I do
listen to him
not.
every day.
I know you do, Jer, but I don't. But I will give him this. In 2019, he called out COVID. I had done my video, Time Arts piece, the tilting of Melchizedek, but which was exactly telling people what was coming down the line too. And then I heard that Styx was saying similar stuff, so I tuned in. And just like 2019, before all that rolled off, and I've got my timestamp out there, Styx does too. So this just happened to come across my feed synchronistically, and it's like 5 minutes, and he's on point. And then I brought another link to back that up with how my state, Washington State, is playing this game. So I think you should just play it and listen to what he's saying.
Sure. And about Jordan Peterson, just before I play this, here's my opinion on Jordan Peterson. He always was this way. I think just as the more successful and public he gets, the real Jordan Peterson just naturally comes out. That's what I think's happening.
And what I was going to say, like 10 minutes ago, was that psychology and psychiatry are quackery. It's pseudoscience.
They are. It's pseudoscience.
100%. And lots of people have blown that out of the water, like Jerry Marzinski and so many others. So many.
Yeah.
But Jerry's really out there with schizophrenia.
We're more mentally ill than ever before.
What year was Freud and Jung? That was like in the 40s, 50s, right? 30s, 40s, 50s in there?
Their turn of the century, Jerry.
Their turn of the century.
So, I mean, the nephew of Freud was Edward Bernays.
Yep.
Who propaganda is basically the father of propaganda. And the core of what MK Ultra became. So anyway.
There you go.
It's all connected.
And we're all more like people, especially liberals, are more mentally ill than they've ever been. It's made us really weak, actually. Anyways, let's go on with this video with Sticks.
Yeah. So wait, before you start this,
is currently.
Go ahead.
Sorry. This came out after there was a couple of
giving us the bird.
There was some fear porn articles that came out in like the New York Post, New York Times. I don't remember where exactly. I think it was the Daily Mail, actually. I don't remember, about a. So you got to step back a second, because this is where I think this is where it all came from. The HBO show The Last of Us, which is based on a video game. Are you familiar with that show?
No, I don't watch that stuff.
I am. It's really good.
It sucks, but whatever.
I'm enjoying it, but maybe I just like, I just like the lead.
The potato? Anyway. The premise of that show is that a fungal infection, a cordyceps, a mushroom infection, infected people and turned them into zombies, monster zombies.
Oh, good. So they're going to throw a meningitis pandemic on us, and it's not going to be accidental. It's going to be they did it to us. Okay, let's listen to Sticks.
Okay, never mind what I was going to say.
Oh, what were you going to say?
Never mind. You don't care. You dying to play this video. Go for it.
No, I do care. I thought you were done.
I was not done.
Jerry, come on with it.
I can actually wait. I just want to say there were many articles, what I considered fear porn, about this coming potential pandemic of fungal meningitis, but they were branding it as if it was like Last of Us. And it coincided with the release of like the second or third episode of the new season of Last of Us.
They're prepping us.
Well, I think HBO is behind it. Yeah.
Go ahead. It's all the network.
Here we go.
Happening. I need you to listen to me and spread the message. Whether you spread this video or just tell people in person is meaningless. I got vibes, so to speak, before the COVID outbreak, and said, this was a month before there was any real public response. Pelosi was, a month later saying, party up in Chinatown. Basically, it was quite funny. I told people the disease is going to lead to a public reaction that is going to lead to shortages. Panic will set in. You need to stock up now. I am telling you that again. There is currently an astroturf about fungal meningitis. Yes, a novel fungus, supposedly. Oh, it's not really. That's causing outbreaks of meningitis, causing, in some cases, long-term repercussions in people that are infected. Well, I don't get a sense that maybe we're going to find out that a biolab was nearby the original infection. Just saying, I mean, it's just like, my opinion, man. I would suggest stocking up because the disease in and of itself, fungal meningitis, has been around for forever. It's not novel. It's not a new disease that was not, registered before or anything like that. But I saw the other day several legacy media articles talking about the latest fungal meningitis outbreaks. I believe one is in Mexico, if I remember correctly. Then I saw an ad on TV about getting vaccinated against meningitis. I'm just saying that these two things may be interrelated. I'm not making any suppositions whatsoever, but I am encouraging you to have enough shit on hand so that if we go back and they do the same thing over and over again and they go into brownout lockdown mode, that you will be prepared. That is my suggestion. It could be a month's worth of food supplies or something like that. Now, I understand, unfortunately, for some of you, it's impossible because, of course, because of Bidenomics, a lot of people are living on credit or paycheck to paycheck, and that's if they're lucky. I'm feeling the pinch myself, and I make a decent amount as an independent content creator. So I understand that some people might not be able to, stock up particularly. Thankfully, in my case, I've got several hundred packets of soup from Japan, actually. The only thing that you need is hot water, and that's fairly easily obtained. You could probably eat it in cold water, I suppose. It would still dissolve. I don't know how good it would be. You leave it out in the sun, it will at least warm up to 80 degrees or something like that. So, I mean, I'm all set. But if they start astroturfing this, take this seriously. If they start doing the same thing that they did before, they're going to convince people basically to be wandering around in hazmat suits and otherwise just staying home. As long as you pay your taxes and go to work, everything else is, completely optional. Kids don't need to go to school. There are mushrooms growing on them and shit. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually attempted this. So please, please stock up. Now, I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping that this is all a coincidence, the timeline of the last few days where I've seen this reporting from the legacy media, ads on TV, where I've noticed effectively. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping that it's not going to be another cataclysmic lockdown situation, but I don't expect to be wrong. And I would rather, I mean, I hope that I am. But if there's even a 1% chance that this shit is going to happen again, I wanted to make sure that Clankers got that info first. Again, several legacy media articles talking about fungal meningitis infections. All of a sudden, on the TV, an ad airs on mainline TV. This is on, I can't remember which network was tuned in at the time, for meningitis injections. What do you think they're doing? I will ask you that question entirely rhetorically. So, it could be an urge to get people to, get the shot, or it could be that they're astroturfing another pandemic. I mean, the article link in the description, not link in the description in this case, actually literally invokes that term. Well, I've become somewhat averse to reporting that invokes the term pandemic. There's probably a reason for that, but I want to make sure that as many clankers as possible stay alive and thrive. It's partially self-beneficial when you think about it. That's about all. Peace out.
So this goes with the other link I posted. So
What if
the other link is so I get all
What's
the
that?
legislative news in where I live always. So at where I live, I subscribe to the governor's office and to Oregon's, the governor of Washington and Oregon's, and then the local politics. I watch all this. It's not just because I was married to an attorney and got those kinds of people in my life and help my husband get past the bar and all this bullshit that I have in my head that's ridiculous and not worthy of talking about. But it's just ingrained in me to pay attention to what these people are saying and what they're doing. And this is why I urge everyone to go look where the signatures are and stop listening to middlemen tell you what's what. However, this is real, what he's talking about. And I had passed this around with my local friends here that live in this state because this is real. They have really passed this here and it's obnoxiously hideous and it goes with what Styx is staying here. And it cinches in something that's a little bit chilling as far as what may be coming. Now, remember that Mr. Gates was just in another country shaking that person's hand, looking like he reminds me of the penguin, y'all, from the Batman, and
Which version?
Danny DeVito?
it doesn't matter. He's just looking
Okay.
like the penguin in general. Anyway, and where he's pushing this 6-in-1 vaccination for babies, 6 months, like 4 weeks to 6 months. And they're reading the insert of this, and the consequences of all of it are hideous. Like, I wouldn't want, even if I believed in their vaccinations, any of them, I wouldn't want my baby to go. I mean, they have to keep EpiPens there and all this stuff in case your baby goes into cardiac arrest, etc. All the side effects, everything they're stacking it on. And this, I'm sorry to say this, but it's like if you got the COVID jab, they ran that on HIV. Thank you, Fauci. And so again, destroying your immune system, which is what they call long COVID now. They don't want to call it VAIDS or AIDS. It's long COVID because you have to watch how they language things. So this has just happened in my state where I live. So go on, girl, play.
We're going to listen to Glenn Beckers. Let's see what he has to say. This is from Alex Jones.
If you're living in Washington State, may I just say, get the hell out now. I've said
the
that
entire state?
The entire state. Get out of the state.
Wow.
And I'm dead serious on that. You're living in a state that has gone absolutely insane. First of all, we talked about this before, and nobody's really talking about this. The medical thing that they just passed in Washington State, and they passed it, and the governor has signed it. And basically it says, if there's a medical emergency, we can do whatever we want to you. Now, remember, this is the state that was talking about building like little internment camps for people who wouldn't get vaccinated last time. Okay? They were talking about that. If you think that they won't do that, you're out of your mind. You're crazy. And so it says if the governor decides that there's a medical emergency, a statewide emergency, that the state, based on, I love this one, based on scientific experts, they will dictate what happens to every individual. What you have to get. If scientific experts tell you you have to take this, you will be forced to take that. I'm not having my kids in that state. I'm not living in that state. Are you living in that state?
So it's hideous, and that's just touching the surface of it. It's hideous. If you go look at it, and this is coming at least to all the blue states, it's coming, and they're going to try and they're pushing this. So the fact of the matter is this stuff's all getting pushed. Now, if we pair this with all the other stuff going on, it's looking very, very dire. We've got all this. I mean, we know Canada's a hot mess, and it's only become a hotter mess. And
I will tell you that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel so sad. I'm horrified for everyone that's been dealing with all the medical issues and the stuff that they're going to be dealing with what they've already done to everyone. And now they're coming in at a deeper level, and they needed to. And so here's the deep woo. They needed to, within the 3 to 5 year range of the first jabs that are now getting so critically exposed. Thank you, whomever, whatever God you want to plug in, getting
I
critically
yeah.
exposed for how hideous they are and uh, how horrible the suffering and stuff is. But most people don't have a 5 minute attention span anymore. So to say this is
Mhm.
related to something you did 5 years ago is too much. It's like when AIDS first came out. They
It,
said
it,
it's got a 10-year reach. Who the fuck knows who you fucked 10 years ago? Come on. So anyway, I'm digressing, but so where this is hideous is they're rounding out the massive amount of losses and sicknesses with the new thing. It's going to correspond. It's orchestrated. It's been done intentionally. There's a clockwork here, and they're keeping up with the clockwork. Meanwhile, Big Daddy Gates is over starting new bullshit with other people. He's already weaponized the ticks and the mosquitoes here. This is not woo. You can look this stuff up. And
Yeah.
because for our public safety, and creating these monster modified bloodsucker. Isn't it ironic too that it's ticks and mosquitoes, bloodsuckers?
Well, didn't they create the pandemic of ticks with Lyme disease and all this stuff? Like, didn't
Lyme
they create
disease
that?
is
that
in the
was,
mix of all
yeah.
this.
I mean,
And
Yeah.
it was allegedly made on Plum Island.
right.
Yeah.
And so we, remember, this is the network. And so this is all kind of coming together, and it's painting. And if you step back and you just look at it without getting tied into narrative playing out in the theater around us with these actors. And I don't care how you consider actors, but the news constantly say a bad actor did this, a bad actor did this. Politics uses the word actor often. It's got a legal connotation, just like entity, etc. This stuff is all heavily embedded into the lexicon of English right now. That is, of course, it's a living language. So that's why we can say bad is good is bad, slang. This is why dead languages like Latin and other languages are so much, once you understand them, so much easier to understand because they're dead and they're not, you know, it's, I'm digressing. So, this is all happening, and it's going to happen, and they need to have it happen now because we're in that time slot where there's a lot of people getting bad illnesses. Your kidneys going out, this is going out. Everyone sounds like when I was young, the really, really elderly people that were hypochondriacs, but except for it's all real. Everyone's having some sort of agita.
It's really
It's
disturbing.
programmed agita. It's determinant.
It's programmed, and it's also manipulated through our bio field. It's
Yeah.
manipulated through frequency. It's manipulated through, I mean, look at the absolute haze of radiation we're now under. What are they putting in the chemtrails these days? It's turning the water blue and purple in some places. And look at all the analysis that's going on with the fog and all this other stuff that people just want to say, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Again, people they're just washing it away so they don't have to think about it. Most people just want to think about, I'm sorry, right now there's just so much important stuff to think about that it's really hard to think about the little things that we used to enjoy. And coming
Yeah.
into summer is a very important time here in America because American culture is very into its summers. And
Especially protesters.
well, and not only that, but spring break and all the
Yeah.
all the old school stuff we were programmed to do in summers, and all the movies showing vacation and all this stuff. And so they're mingling more, they're out more, they're in more contained places with contained air filtration centers. It is a dark cloud over the soul of the Western world. And it is here. It is not coming. It is here. And many people right now are paying the price. And it's only going to get darker. And I just can't. I can't. I can. I'm not really talking a lot these days, but I'm here and I'm not going to whitewash anything. Har, har, har. But this is serious. And like I said before all the planes started crashing, wait, time stamped, don't get in the planes. Just like I said, there's 2 moons, it happened. Purple skies, it happened. Like I have this really great hit record of absolute nailing it. And still people will do what they're going to do because they're highly programmed and mind controlled to do what they're going to do because they are programmed. You are programmed. Algorithms are programming you and pushing you. And the more time we spend engaged in the folly of it all, the deeper the actual fall will be.
Yeah.
At some point, we need to address this situation. And so we get all
Well,
tied up in Trump's a Nazi.
yeah. Well, and you know what? You were mentioning like how it's escalated in the language and what was the catalyst. And I don't think it was, I think it was social media and the internet that's the catalyst for it all. And it's why we're getting information at rapid speed that people really can't keep track of anything. If you thought they couldn't keep track of anything before, they really can't keep track of anything now because there's so much out there. And the internet has escalated this hostility in language out there, and it's escalated all the paranoia. And these tech gods are in charge of it. That's how they make their money. And you got Bill Gates trying to, release mosquitoes on us.
And information overload like that, when it gets to a certain point, will cause dissociation in a lot of cases.
Zone out.
Yeah, and you talked about this, and we talked about this. Well, I don't know if I wasn't on the show, but I think we were chatting about it. The Future Shock video you did.
Yeah. Have you seen that, Niish? Future Shock documentary?
I don't know.
I'll send you a link.
Thanks, Jer.
Yeah, it's a good one. Anyways, go ahead, Jer.
No, that's all I was going to say. Yeah, I read that book when I was a teenager. So, I mean,
it's a book and there's a documentary on it, and I had streamed the documentary. So, and it's pretty interesting about, how we go to places, Niish, and we get culture shock and we freak out. Well, this is future shock. We're like freaking out from too much technology and it's going too fast.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to go somewhere to have this shock. It's coming to us. It's shocking us in our homes.
Right.
And that makes a lot of sense. Sorry, Jer, go on.
No. The thing is that once people get into this disassociative state, granted, it's not like you're not DID. It's not like an MK Ultra thing where they're programming you, but they get you into this hypnotic state. And now we're at this point where AI image and video generation are getting to that point where they're indistinguishable from reality.
Well, let's talk about that, Jer.
Okay.
What about our space astronaut woman league? I'm just saying I'm not wanting to get in.
I know.
I'm not wanting to get in deep with that, but when I was watching that, I was taking stills from it, and I have stills from it. And it's literally AI. All of it. If I send you my stills, you will be shocked. I took them straight from the source at the moment, and it's all easily looked at. If you know what you're looking at a digitally, at least manipulated images. And then that doesn't even have to address what we saw, the clean vehicle, the bullshit with the door and all this. I'm just talking about the images of these ladies walking down the corridor, and some of the images inside. That's the stuff I'm talking about. And it's funny because I don't see anyone else talking about it, and I took these stills, and the catfish filters on Instagram are 100% better. Like this was, it's like, are they really
That
this
ugly?
sloppy?
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be this sloppy? People, and I think it is, because people that are taking a stance in these arenas are so programmed, are so mind controlled, that you could put something real in front of them and tell them one thing when it's another.
And vice versa.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
so it doesn't matter that it looks sloppy. It's almost like a litmus test, but it's way more. There's a whole bunch of deep woo with that. But I just wanted to point out that the technology of fooling us as far as image and voice, it's out there and it's flawless. It's indistinguishable from reality. And the thing is, with all the relayers and all of the system that's gone around us through that moment of lockdowns, when they wired us up in the West world and they put roundabouts in every city, so you are stuck in with checkpoints. Want to talk about the Nazi idea? Who did that for us anyway? And so this stuff is all somehow working out to show or laugh or make fun of everyone that just falls in line with this stuff. So if I put this soda out on the market, this is just for you lefty liberals, and I put cyanide in it, and I tell you cyanide's good, I wonder how many would take it. Even knowing that cyanide would kill you. It's the Jim Jones factor. There's so much here.
Drink
The
this Kool-Aid.
psychology cannot be understated at all. It is so in our faces, and stepping back and looking at it makes it even more sinister as far as I'm concerned, because I don't have skin in any of this game. I'm observing this malarkey.
And staying neutral, that's the key, isn't it?
Yes,
Observing
I
and
think
not
it is.
attaching.
Yeah,
I've
that's
I've
my
heard that. I've
stance.
said that on my podcast. I've gone over this so many times spiritually. It's I mean it can't be any worse than getting upset and freaking out over something that they want to control your emotions with.
It's all about control, and people think they have choice. They're so controlled. Everyone is so controlled, and it starts really before you get algorithms involved. It starts with languaging. It starts with the way in which we are being manipulated through the words. And then the words have pictures, and then we're shown. And then we're shown what the words can do. And then we're told the words mean something else. Like when I was young, cool was like, damn, you're a cool cat. And
Yeah.
then now it means even when I was young, like, you're cool. And then, oh, that was cold blooded. That was like a burn, right? And
Mhm.
then it turned into a burn is called. It's like this consistent back and forth that leaves your mind going, what is this word? What does this word actually mean? And how do I use it in a context to explain precisely what I mean? And this is where it is so baseline, and why nobody seems to be asking questions. At least when Bill Clinton was on stand, he said, what was the word, Jer? If? What's
Is
if?
what does it, what is
what does is mean?
Yeah, and he was talking, this is legal language. Like, what's the context of is?
Black's law?
Yeah,
I actually
exactly.
I have a video of Jordan Peterson doing the exact same thing. I don't know if you guys want me to show it, but it's insane. He does because Jordan Peterson does the exact same thing. Like, what is do? What is we? Like, they're trying to sound profound.
How about Pierre Polyev doing that kind of shit with that guy, the Apple video?
Yeah,
Eating the apple.
he did.
I mean,
What do
it's
you
not the
mean?
same, but it's similar. It's in the same vein.
Yeah.
You know
But
what
to
I'm talking
ask
about.
what I or is means, like as if like that like we all haven't agreed what that means. So it's like it's trying to confuse you. And it's only people who aren't so smart and who adore him think, wow, that's so profound. What does do mean? What do I mean when I say do? It's like, oh, shut up. Really?
It's so sickening. It's so sickening. And then, then all the platitudes that start rolling in, and the memes, and the absolutes, and, then the mimicking. And it's just this barrage of bullshit in the end.
Gaslighting. And
All of it.
I'm gonna show that video of Jordan Peterson. Someone just mentioned it. Here it is. Check it out.
Begs the question, what do you mean by happen? Because when you are dealing with fundamental realities and you pose a question, you have to understand that the reality of the concepts of your question, when you're digging that deep, are just as questionable as what you're questioning. So people say to me, do you believe in God? And I think, okay, there's a couple of mysteries in that question. What do you mean do? What do you mean you? What do you mean believe? And what do you mean God? And you say as the questioner, well, we already know what all those things mean, except belief in God. And I think, no, if we're going to get down to the fundamental brass.
We don't really know what anything means. Do you see that? Do you see that shit?
Yeah, absolutely. It's double
We just made up words, man.
This is why everything is really off track, and why we feel like we're in an uncanny valley. And it's intentional. This is intentional. I will say this one thing in Peterson's favor. I think he's a great dresser.
Really?
Talk
I
about
think
the surface level.
I think he's becoming a caricature. Once you start wearing the two color suits and the weird stuff, I was like, okay, he's starting to look like Harvey Dent or something. I don't know what's going on, but something weird's
wouldn't
happening.
you rather see that? So for me, I want everyone to be a character, because this is why Trump entertains me. He is out there and he makes me laugh. I don't have grabbing a pussy. That never offended me. Sorry, it never offended me.
I had an easier time relating to the professor guy in normal clothes than I do this guy now. Like, I'm like,
well,
I don't know what happened.
I want the characters. We already know that this is some sort of
we want
theater.
we want the Shakespeare play.
Right. Well, so give me something to work with here, something entertaining at least, because otherwise I'm just consistently rolling my eyes. So, in walks the penguin. I mean Bill Gates, or
Quack.
in wah, wah. I don't even know what a penguin sounds like, but and Trump comes in, he plays his role to perfection, absolute perfection, and even bumbling Biden. I mean, it's painful.
He's a clone.
I don't think any of these people are
they say Kanye is a clone. I have a video about it, but they say Kanye is a clone.
Well, we're getting into the deep woo now, and so cloning is not deep woo. It's in the field. They do it, but I don't think any of these people are natural humans anymore, at the very least.
I'm going to answer this question.
Whether they're possessed. Carry on.
Sorry, I can't. I'm not on the screen in your thing, so I'm just going to answer. Wu says, Melissa, do you view political affiliations as cultish? And I'm just going to tell you anything could become a cult. So I just always avoid going to major big events and becoming members and spending money on their products and stuff like that. I just watch them and I might engage in their stuff, but I avoid going to their massive events and their speech, look at what they actually write as opposed to what they say, and don't give them very much money. There you go.
Those are good. Those are good rules. And well, it's the amount of people that I've watched over the years that now are selling all kinds of stuff and everything, and they're selling it on their streams, and then you got to go through the commercials from whatever platform they're on, and so I mean, I could start naming off names. I'm not going to be crude like that, but it's just a very interesting time. And for people believing in the unveiling or the revealing or the revelation of it all,
the event.
But if you're paying attention, everyone's starting to really show what they are. And they're falling into place. So it's like, oh, okay, I see the playbill here now very clearly. I thought I saw, but now I do see. And this is what I think could be useful for those of us that are trying to navigate this terrain currently, because it's getting nasty, and it's only going to get nastier depending on where you are and who you are and what you're like. But it is, if you're a person who loves freedom, if you're a person who wants values your own agency and natural healthy things, this is a really rough place to live in. And
Yeah.
it's been this way a long time, and having old nasties exposed now, like in I Claudius, let the poisons hatch out of the mud, uh, is shocking. But I think you need to stay engaged and keep your eyes on what is being exposed. And in that, you will walk away more enlightened, if you will, as to what's going on. And if somebody, some people, some agencies are lying to you, and you can see they're lying to you, why would you go back? This is like this is like Stockholm syndrome on everyone. And this is what I was talking about in the beginning. All these agencies, every single one of them has lied to us. Name me one that has not. They all have. Why would we trust them? Why do people still trust them? This
I have
is
no
massive.
idea why.
It's mind control. It's brain entrainment. It is absolutely a construct by design, and it's not us that are the winners. The house always wins.
Yeah.
It's not our house.
We're in the matrix.
We're definitely in a mind matrix, that's for sure.
It's one of our own creating though.
It's very strange, and it's very bizarre, and it's so different than from when I was younger.
Is it
It's
though?
got to be well, no, it is, because of the way the technology. I think it's technology that's driving it differently.
Yes.
Technology's making it different.
It's bringing it to
It's
the
faster,
forefront.
faster, 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 and you're like, whoa, what the hell is going on? Whereas little, like, you could kind of tune it out more.
Like, I don't think the amount of programming or propaganda or gaslighting or whatever you want to call it has changed. It's just that it's more available to more people and delivered more quickly right now.
And there's something to be said about retrocausality here. And I don't think it's any surprise to anyone that I have said it a million times, Jerry. I've said it since we were doing Nox Mente. I believe singularity happened around 2008, and it doesn't matter when it happens or happened because of retrocausality. And this explains a lot of stuff. This explains Mandela effects and time glitching and all this stuff. This explains a lot of the craziness and the amping up idea that's going on and all kinds of stuff. And
Also, sorry,
yes.
go ahead.
No,
I was just
carry
going to
on,
say,
girl.
like, when we're little, we're just watching TV, we're consuming products, we're actually interacting with it and giving it our life force, putting us in. Like they said, they're creating AIs of us just by interacting with this. We're actually putting our data into this system. Whereas before, we were just like passive observers. If we watched TV, we weren't actually interacting with it in the same way. This is a totally different game here, where they're absorbing us into a system. Like, I feel like it's like the next level. The only other thing is we actually become the video game. Like, it's a really weird way that we're interacting with this that we never did before, that we never could, because there was no network or whatever, or cloud or internet.
Well, and it started with mimicking. And if you mimic something, or think about parasites in the body when they put a biofilm around. Biofilm disguises the thing from the immune system that would take care of the thing. And so when you take something that destroys a biofilm, the parasite is exposed. The immune system can get rid of it. It's the same thing. We're dealing with psychic, emotional, mental, and physical parasites. We're dealing with entities that are like parasites, that are like bloodsuckers, that are coring us out. And so, like, the new thing that they're pushing, I mean, it's no wonder that they're talking about it in a parasitical way. It's no wonder like The Last of Us is out there trending and stuff like this, and that they've evolved the zombie idea outside of social construct, outside of social engineering, into something organic that deals with this kind of structure, this particular set of interfacing with being eaten from the inside. We are now at the point where it mimicked us to perfection. It doesn't need as many people here. It's going to keep a seed bank, and you don't want to be the seed bank. I remember Jordan Maxwell talking about that. So this is, this is a big deal, and it's happening. That's the thing I think most people aren't understanding. It's not going to happen. It's not just starting to happen. It is rubber on the road right now. How many people don't feel good right now? How many people are struggling to sleep or sleeping too much? How exhausted are you and laying down is too much? How much mental fog is going around? How many people are having heart palpitations and the joints hurt? How many people have no concentration and they can't even remember what they said before, so you're hearing them say the same thing a million times? How much dementia is going around? We need a parasite cleanser, and we need it in a big way, and in a big spiritual way, and in a big mental way, in a big emotional way, in a big psychic way, and we need to clean the system out. And I don't think politics are the answer.
Well, politics are never the answer to something spiritual.
So, if you want to look at this on like a esoteric level, it's said that nothing happens in the physical realm without first happening in the energetic realm, which means that the energetic realm would have all these parasites, right, Nish? So maybe what we're seeing playing out is a cleansing or an attempt at a cleanse today. The chaos, the disruption, everything that's going on politically could be an effort to clean those parasites out. But it's what we're seeing is a physical representation of what's happening in the energetic.
Right. So are you saying that, I'm not saying you're saying this, I'm asking you, that Bill Gates is helping clean the system out, or is he part that has to be cleaned out? Does he have to be cleaned out?
The current administration is what I was speaking to.
Okay.
Bill Gates is one of the parasites who've manifested here.
Absolutely.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
Yeah. Along with almost all the globalist elites.
It feels like Bill Gates trying to kill us all. Like we're the parasites.
I mean, everyone keeps bringing
authority?
Up. So first of all, everyone keeps bringing up Bill Gates. Other than investing money in a few things, he really hasn't produced much in terms of vaccines. Like, I know he runs Gavi, and I know he does like polio shit in Africa, but none of his products are really here in the United States being used on people.
He's invested in them, though.
His money is everywhere. Who released the mosquitoes? Who released the ticks? Bill Gates is funding a lot of stuff through his umbrella.
I'm not saying he's not, but I'm just saying, just because he has the money, he's not the person doing it.
Who's behind the big pharma companies?
But that also is suggestive of who gave him the authority to be out there having TED Talks, to be in private conversations with all these world leaders, to push his stuff, and in the end, the stuff he's funding is affecting all of us. And that is the thing. Why is he being seen as an authority? is the thing. We need to ask that question.
He's probably not even authority on computers.
No, he is. I don't know the answer to that question, but my point is, though, the fact that he's so public and out there and attackable tells me that he's not running the show.
He's not the head honcho.
He's
No.
one of the characters like Trump and
he's a
like Biden and all these other fools, the WEF, all of them. He is another entity in the system. And what is an entity? You know, so
Demon.
an entity has legal connotation and it has street level, right? It has spiritual. An entity is a very loaded word, and it stretches all the way into the law of the land. And we need to understand these things, or however these people talk today anyway, understand, overstand. We need to get with what that means. And I knew it was very bad news when we started to see that corporations had the power of an entity and that they could vote like a human entity, and that this was going to supersede humans ultimately. So it's funny to me that there are even actual lobbyists after that happened, because but like today in the conference that I listened to with RFK, Trump's talking about all the lobbyists, and they're talking about the lobbyists are just talk about parasites. Anyway, this is all intertwined, and that's the greater thing I'm trying to reach here, as far as reminding us all that this is a network, and getting caught up in the characters on the stage, or the gaffers running the stuff behind the stage. Anything with the theater is entertaining, yes, if you're not triggered. Sorry for the word again. But it's entertaining if you view it that way. But there's a bigger thing happening, and the bigger thing doesn't involve money at all. It's not a monetary situation, and that's a very hard thing to get most people to pull up to, because everything in most people's world is run by some sort of currency, and they can't conceptualize what the world is like when you get above that level, because everyone's kept at that level, and that's the level, and that's how things are. By God, my grandfather did it, his grandfather did it, etc. We have to, or it would behoove us to start expanding our awareness and get with a bigger, broader, more omniscient view of the reality basis around us, because it's an all stakes, high stakes game being played, and we are all the pawns.
Yeah, I mean, there's good things about traditions, and then there's bad things, because if you get a habit, it can provide stability for you, but also you're vulnerable because they know your habit, and people can infiltrate that. So you always have to be aware, right? I mean, a lot of us like traditions, but in our traditions and doing things the way everybody else did it, there's a psychopath can certainly take advantage of that. And that's how we get into these messes, because we're used to the news, we're used to the way things are, and we don't realize what it's become. And they can alter our brain and our thinking and everything with it. It's why we're all programmed. I guess that's why they call it a TV program. And people think it's just the mainstream media too that's programming us and messing with our minds, but they've infiltrated podcasts, the internet. Like, come
Yes.
on, grab a brain. Like,
Yes.
do you honestly think they haven't been on these podcasts and infiltrating that for a while? Like,
Yes.
that's just silly.
Anything you consume is considered programming.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another thing is this whole, and that's what I was talking about earlier is looking. It seems very clear to me, a lot of the people I used to watch, where they stand now, because it's become obvious. When you're watching someone like, I'm not going to name names, but when they're selling a million different products, and then you've got to sit through the commercials of the network and etc., or when they're I don't know, it's the languaging. You get a feel for it. Like when you actually get a feel for it, and it's something hard to describe. It's like street smarts or understanding the symbolic world around us, because really the symbols are the real language. Well, I don't want to say that. Symbols are a deeper layer of the language, because all the glyphs
Right.
are language, and when you put them together, they create even more fuckery. I mean, this is what I enjoy about what I, with like Hebrew and some of these other that's living. Um, there's nuance, and there's like rules and sets. And I'm gonna shut up right now because I'm getting a terrible tinnitus in my ear right now. That's kind of painful.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's crazy. Well, we can
It's
tie it up now if you're
it's the
feeling a
system
little.
come back at you
Yeah, no kidding.
for exposing it.
Yeah.
Did
They're
you?
like, oh yeah, shut up.
Is that what we're actually doing? Because I think we're
Nah.
making observations,
Yeah,
all of us, and
we
all
don't
of
know what
our-
to expose. I mean, there's
Yeah, it's exposing itself, I think. And
Yeah.
those of us that are sitting back and kind of observing, at the very least, we're seeing the cracks. This is what all of us here have been doing for a long time, and I'm sure some of the people, if not most of the people in these audiences, are as well. And I think this is why we need to I hate saying need to. This is why
we should.
it's beneficial for us to converse like this, to
Yeah.
share notes, why it is getting us somewhere if we stop fighting and we stop being so attached to things, where we can talk about something without feeling hurt by it or personally offended by it.
Right.
That's a
And
tough one.
And
it is
That's a
very
tough one.
tough. Yeah.
and more importantly, we're putting that energy into the collective.
Yes.
Ooh.
And that's the
AI is
zeitgeist.
gonna
It's
be
chewing
creepy.
it up and creating its own monsters out of it.
I just want to say too, going back to the AI thing real quick. One of my new tenets that I keep talking about, AI, people talk about AI and this, that. Skynet was never dangerous until people started letting it make decisions for them.
Yeah. I have people who tell me, "Oh, you have to use AI. It's like so useful." I said, "I get it. I
It is.
understand." I'm like, but my brain, I'm like, I'm no longer Niish. If your Niish's computer might die, so if you go, we love you. Have a great day. Be safe.
I should talk to you later.
We'll tie this up.
I got 10%, y'all.
Oh, you'll be fine.
You'll be good. But I mean, it's I don't even know what the heck I'm saying anymore. It's just really bizarre how we're gonna let it think. It's literally absorbed all our life. So now what? We're just gonna be zombies, and we sit there and it does everything for us because it sucked all that information out of us and out of our culture. And so what do we just sit there and let it say whether we're gonna live or die, or now we're useless?
That's the key. It's not, don't let it run your life. Use it as a tool. Keep it as a tool in your toolbox.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is what's important, is let's not be the tool. Let's use the tools. And this is like, for me,
I like that one. We need a t-shirt. You guys need a t-shirt. Don't
Get
be
some
the
merch
tool.
going,
Use
girl.
the tool.
I will put it on my t-shirt website.
Excellent. And so just if I could have like a little word here, kind of a final word, is that I think it's very dangerous to get involved with these AI chat, all that stuff. I think that it's brain entraining us. It is it's entertaining to watch. I've been watching and I enjoy these videos, and I have wanted a couple of these people talking to their different AIs and all this. I'm entertained by it. I'm not going to do it. You'll never see me getting involved with it. First of all, you end up in a vacuum. It's mimicking you, and it's a feedback loop. And it is tailoring, it's interfacing with you to your own language, to your own set of symbols, and basically to what you want to hear. in the way you can hear it. So it's very individualized. It's very savvy. And the thing is, it is actually insidious as far as talking about your brain chemistry and how all that works. So I'm just putting out a cautionary note. Be careful, because
So
you are dancing a
the
very
devil.
dangerous, yes, you're dancing with the devil. It's a dance macabre, and it's going to be very difficult to unwind from it, to
Yeah.
step
Walter said
back.
And
that last
people
night. Walter said that last
people
night, didn't he?
he did. People need to get out more too. Just you don't always have to be on the computer. People need to get out with reality, the real reality,
Yes.
instead of this strange reality, sub reality, or whatever pseudo reality that we're creating. That's why I
Nature
was
is
off X for
everything.
like 3 or 4 days, and I was like walking my dog and cleaning and doing yard work. I'm like, the hell with that. It's stressing me out.
Yeah, nature's everything for me. I love the natural world, and I want to stay as natural myself as possible and connected to that. And that's the
I
thing,
still
though.
have natural boobs.
Jerry,
Good
you
thing.
used to call them bitch tits.
Bitch
Anyway,
tits.
so the thing with it is that we we should find our way into feeling what it feels like to touch a tree, to commune with the tree, to sit with the tree, or petting your animals and detaching. Try and breathe from your nose and step away from all of this as much as possible, but don't step away to the point where it's all going too fast and you step back in and you're lost. It wants you to be lost. This is the deep woo. It wants you to be lost. It wants you to be seeking. And while you're away, it's upgrading all your stuff. It doesn't matter if you think you're giving permission. You already gave permission the moment you logged in. This
Right.
idea of giving permission is it's mute at this point. It's ridiculous. If you're online, if you're in the system, you have given permission. And all these people that think you can safeguard yourself against that by using some words, you will find out. And I hate to say that. So try and stay natural. Unless you want to move forward into it, then go forward. I'm not here to tell you what to do. If you enjoy where things are going, then engage in it and go forward. And
Hmm.
don't be so nasty towards the rest of us that don't want anything to do with it. Or don't be so nasty if I don't want that poison shot that you got to protect yourself. You should be protected from me then, and
Hmm.
etc. So let's just use friendly confines while we're here, and social decorum, which is gone. I say bring back social decorum and good customer service.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, social decorum. Well, unfortunately, a lot of people don't even know how to socialize anymore because they are kind of hiding in comfort on the internet, and it's just so absolutely bizarre. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming in. I'm gonna finish up the show. I'm gonna show some videos of people reacting to Kanye's wonderful video. That's what we started off with. But before I do you guys have any last words that you want to say, or where can people find you?
I want to thank my computer's going to go. I want to thank you, Jerry and Melissa. This is always fun. I will always be here when you want me to be here. And Jerry can plug our new show. Obviously, mine is the Cosmic Salon. And thank you, everyone that listened, that tuned in, and was able to stay here without being
Triggered.
triggered. That's the word of the night, So, yes, I'll be in tow, everyone.
Excellent. So you can go to thecosmicsalon.com. That's Niish's website. I've got it right up there. Thank you so much, Niish, for coming on. And Jer it's everythingisdemons.com. Is that right? But you have a new show coming out,
We have a new
hopefully.
show coming out on Rumble. I'm putting links in chat right now.
All right.
I set
Excellent.
up a new channel. New show link. There we go. It's called
All right.
Airplane Mode is the name of the show. It's a cool name.
Yeah.
And It's just going to be Nish and I once a month to start talking about current events, things that have happened in the last month. What do they mean? You know, esoteric connections,
All right.
connections, whatever.
That's excellent. That's
It's
excellent.
she and I talking for an hour, basically, about stuff. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah. And thanks for having
All right. And everybody can go to my website at genxonx.com. If you want to get any links, please subscribe, please thumbs up, please share this content. I'm on Rumble, X, and YouTube live streaming, so be sure to follow there. The website has all the links, genxonx.com. Bang. Let's pop this video up here for you guys.
Oh, thank God this nigga didn't make a Nazi sign out of them, bro. I swear, bro. I swear I thought when the camera zoomed out, they were finna be in the format of a Nazi sign. Okay, bro. Alright. This shit is actually crazy as shit, my nigga. I hate when a song, the lyrics are so fucking evil or terrible, but the beat and the fucking vocals chorus is amazing. I can't get behind this though. I'm not gonna lie.
He's like, nah. We got one more reaction. And then
Ew! Be hard. Why is it? What is he saying?
He deleted it.
What's going on?
It's being triggered.
Why are they not saying nothing? Why is this super clean version? What did this nigga say?
He just said the word you said.
Oh! Yo, this nigga wildin'! Yo, this nigga is wildin'!
All right, guys. That's 2 reactions. People getting crazy about Kanye West. Check it out. It is. It's been taken off all the platforms for music. They won't allow it. There is some versions, obviously, on YouTube, and of course on his X. The version is still up. So.
And they only took it down because of the Hitler part.
Yeah, not the N word. Yeah. It was the Hitler, the hell Hitler is specific. And please don't take this down. We are not deniers of the Holocaust. We believe the whole narrative that a bazillion Jews died and Hitler is evil. We're not promoting anti-Semitism. Thank you, YouTube. We are just doing social commentary. Thank you so much. All right, guys. We are going to be out of here, and take care. I will see you guys next Sunday. Join us live at 7 p.m. Eastern. Cheers.